Hi everybody, this is Noelle for Petitti Garden Centers, and we're here at our Oakwood Village store, and it is getting to be hanging basket time. So the hanging baskets are starting to come into the store, and we're going to talk about all the different types that you can use. In our garden centers and our annual greenhouses, we have sun options and we also have shade options, so we're going to show you those. Right now we are in the tropical options, so there are bougainvillea hanging all around here. We have the beautiful fuchsia, standard classic color fuchsia, bougainvillea, not fuchsia plants, but the fuchsia colored type. And then also there's a beautiful mix right here with the white and also that beautiful fuchsia. And it looks like there's a little bit of pink, but I think this is just a little bit of fading with this fuchsia color. So beautiful bougainvillea. Just remember, when you are growing any type of tropical hanging basket, you want to have the same environment. So you want to grow them in full sun conditions, usually 6 or more hours of direct sunlight. You want to keep them watered, but they can take a little bit of drought, so that's good as well. And it would go for the same thing if you saw flowering hibiscus in a hanging basket, or you saw diplodenia in a hanging basket. That's the same exact way that you would want to grow those. So keep those in mind. They're always a great option to grow in the hanging baskets. And bougainvillea, actually, they can take some cooler weather. So we tend to see these first, like a first option for tropical hanging baskets, because they do like it a little bit cooler at times. But I wanted to walk you through here. And now we're going to the sun baskets, and you can see those yellow orangey signs that say sun on them, indicating that we're on the sunny side of the greenhouse, right? And look all the way down this run. All the way down, you'll see the moss hanging baskets, which are typically our largest hanging basket. Lots of different combinations through this hanging basket line. Beautiful combinations with verbena, calibrachoa, and petunias here. But you'll also see kind of some monocultures, which means they have the same plant material planted in, but it might be a few different colors of that plant. And there's some calibrachoa or mini petunias that are planted, and they look so beautiful. Now, if you look on the flip side of this, we have all the sunbations up here in the moss hanging baskets. Now, the moss hanging baskets do help a little bit, keep that soil a little bit more moist. It'll stay moisture longer with the moss. But if you let your moss basket dry out, obviously the soil is also going to dry out because the moss is going to pull that moisture out of the soil. So just be aware of that. Water your basket, make sure it's thoroughly moistened. Water the moss, make sure the moss stays nice and moist. So kind of balances each other out. But look at these sun patiens. Sun patiens are excellent for your pollinators. They are wonderful and versatile for full sun areas or full shade areas. So you'll see them, you can grow them anywhere you like, and they do a really, really great job. Through this area, you're gonna find more baskets, and they're kind of lifting the baskets up and putting them on the lines right now. Beautiful combination with some of these speckled petunias here. This is part of the headliner series. So if you see a petunia that has those white spots, it didn't get splashed by paint. It's part of that series. And I should mention that your petunias, your verbena, your calibrachoa, those are the plants that you're gonna see at this time of year when it's kind of early. So we're right at the end of April going into May. You're gonna see a lot of those types of plants because they're more cool tolerant, okay? So do think about that when you're selecting your plant material and you're putting them outside early. Be aware, okay? We do have more New Guineas here, or sun patiens, I should say, which is the larger New Guinea flower. Just make sure if you're going to put them out in sun, they're the sun patiens type of New Guinea, okay? Because they really are the only ones that tolerate that full sun condition. There's other New Guineas that I'll show you later that really would prefer to be in shadier spots. These guys right here are super cows. So that's going to be a special kind of petunia. It's actually a cross between a petunia and a calibrachoa. And what you get is really, really beautiful coloration here. This is the citrus mix with supercals, but these guys are also really cool tolerant. They're one of the petunias that we can keep out for a long time in the fall going into frost. So that's always a really great thing to have for your summer collection as well. Oh my gosh, lovey-dovey, love this one. Beautiful variety from Proven Winners. This is a Supertunia from Proven Winners. Really, really beautiful stripes, raspberry pink and white striping. You can tell how it's kind of has a very prostrate type of growth habit, and then the spreading comes down the sides. And I'll have Taylor kind of pan over and she can show you persimmon, which is a different type of Supertunia. See how it's a little bit more mounded and upright at the start, and then it'll start trailing over. So all petunia varieties are not made the same. They all have their different attributes, and so they grow a little bit differently in containers like these do too. And this is the new one. This is the new Supertunia Vista Jazzberry. Beautiful new color, dark centers on this one. Again, your petunias are always going to be great for those long-nosed pollinators like your hummingbirds. And this is a beautiful color. It looks gorgeous with yellows. So check that out as well. More sun options that I really like in full sun to part shade is the Scaevola or fan flower. This is the Whirlwind series. Whirlwind comes in white, so you can see the whites here. There's a mix there, white and blue. The blue is more of like a lavender periwinkle, so just be aware that it's not a true blue, but it's very pretty. These Scaevola were one of the first varieties that Proven Winners started growing, and they're from Australia. They have a little bit of a succulent stem to them, so they don't need as much water as maybe a petunia would need in the full sun. So keep that in mind too when you're thinking about your watering maintenance. Maybe you need something that can handle a little bit more dry soil, okay, in the hanging baskets. So the blue, and then also Whirlwind pink. Really, really pretty, beautiful kind of pastel pink color, really nice. So again, full sun for these, but they can take like a part shade condition too. So that 4 to 6 hours of sunlight is nice to kind of transition. If you do have, part shade underneath the porch or what have you, that might work for you. This is a zonal geranium, beautiful, deep scarlet red, absolutely gorgeous. Great for full sun again, because we're in the sunny side of the hanging baskets. Look at added a little euphorbia in there. Oh my gosh. And I just love, again, that really, really graceful kind of wispy texture. And then with the bold leaves of that geranium, that's a beautiful sunny hanging basket. Other sun options, don't forget your edibles, okay? So 6 or more hours of sunlight, of course. Tumbler tomato here, beautiful cherry tomato. This one's coloring up really, really nicely. You can see some of the branching and trailing coming off, some of the flowering. Look at this whole half is still flowering here. So remember, great sun options. Grow any of your veg in containers, no problem. Tumblers made for hanging baskets. So this is a great option. Make sure you keep picking. Make sure you keep cutting back after they produce for you. They will continue to produce, okay? So keep up your watering maintenance and your fertilization too, and you'll be fine. Just below here, I have a little strawberry hanging basket too, so you can continue to grow your edibles up in the sky, if you will. And of course, they could work on shepherd's hooks. They could work, wherever you want to hang. But it's always nice to have hanging baskets, to kind of give yourself more of a vertical garden aspect. Hang your baskets high, put some pots underneath. As you're watering in your hanging basket, it could drip down and water the pot below too. So really good ways to use the hanging baskets and of course grow your edibles. We've moved into the shade section of the greenhouse. So that's how all your Petitti garden centers are set up. You'll have your sun annuals and your shade annuals. So now we're talking about typically 4 hours or less of direct sunlight on your plant material. And one of our favorites, of course, is the Boston ferns. And these are fantastic plants. Showed you in Casa Verde. Casa Verde was really, really full. These are just starting to come into the garden centers right now, but looking gorgeous, bright green. You can't beat that shape and that texture of the plant. And the smell. I love the smell of Boston ferns. They have that fresh green smell. It's really, really awesome. And then of course, one of our other favorites for shade is gonna be the fuchsias, right? So wonderful for hummingbirds, absolutely gorgeous. You'll see these right down the aisle here, all the way down the line. And of course, what's another name? Victorian name was called ladies' earrings, but really, really beautiful doubled flower. Usually the outside sepals are a different color than the inside petals here. And again, those dark colors, the purples, oh my gosh, the hummingbirds absolutely love them. They are a great shade plant. They can go into part shade too, so up to 6 hours of sunlight. But I love hanging these off of like lower tree branches, and you'll see the hummingbirds buzz around and really get the nectar that they need. But lots and lots of colors, usually pinks, reds, purples, whites, a little bit of white here and there, but oh my gosh, so gorgeous. More shade options right here in the greenhouse. Your begonias all down this table here. Reiger begonias are gorgeous in shade. They also transition really, really well as houseplants. So that kind of gives you an indication of what low light levels they can take. So again, that part shade to bright and direct light indoors. So that's really, really cool. Right next to the Reiger begonias is going to be the Selenia begonias. These are gorgeous. The foliage is wonderfully, oh my gosh, it's dark and beautiful and clean. And look at these flowers. They'll start to trail over, gives a little bit more length for a begonia in the hanging baskets. And they can actually be a little bit more versatile and move into more sun as well. So that part shade to shade aspect, no problem whatsoever. If you have a little bit more sunlight, more than 6 hours, no problem with the Selenias either. They're very, very versatile. They can move through different sun aspects, no problem. There's the orange right now, the pink, and I'm gonna have Taylor come this way. And then, gosh, look at that. Looks like little rosebuds, right? Look at that color. And then dragonwing. And I've talked about dragonwing begonias. They are a phenomenal class of begonias. Again, the versatility with these is wonderful. Just like the sun patients, they can go to full sun, to full shade, anywhere in between, and do a great job for you. Semi-succulent, so begonias for the most part can take a little bit drier conditions than maybe say a petunia could, but do really, really well. Definitely better than, as far as drought, definitely better than impatient family. So just keep that in mind. Wonderful, wonderful. I wanted to just have Taylor switch over here because we're seeing some of the begonias, some of the newer types. These are Boliviensis types where they have the real narrow foliage, kind of cool, sharp texture to them. We've talked about these and saw these at Casa Verde as well. These are the Encanto series, the pink, and then also the red here. Again, if you're looking to attract hummingbirds, awesome plants, no problem whatsoever. One last category of begonias. This is the classic. These are the non-stop tuberous begonias. And when I turn these around, look at these flowers. Look at how big they are. They're almost peony-like. We grow the Mocha series, which is more of that dark leaf series. I'll have Taylor look at this orange one here. I mean, it is just humongous, really, really pretty. So those are gonna work really well in shade for you to part sun. They can tolerate kind of that 4 to 6 hour moment as well. Now, the last one for shade that we're going to show you is the New Guinea impatiens. So New Guinea impatiens are the larger flowering impatiens. They have really beautiful mounded habit, beautiful large flowering. These type are related to sun patients, okay? Look very, very similar, but these are the ones that you're gonna wanna keep cooler in the shade. If they get too hot, they tend to stop blooming, okay? That's not like sun patients. Sun patients keep going and going and going, no matter where you put them. But if you have shadier spots and you want a larger impatient, this is the one you want to go for. So these are actually Harmony series through here. Lots of beautiful colors. The lavender has huge, huge flowers. Really, really pretty. The last one I wanted to show you, and we'll have Taylor pan back this way, is the roller coaster impatiens. They are also in New Guinea. We introduced them the last couple of years. Huge flowering. Look at these flowers, and they are ruffled and really, really gorgeous. Look at that. Gorgeous plant, okay? Again, more of a shade New Guinea. So you really do want to grow those roller coasters in the shade. Part shade would be okay, but keeping them cool is going to keep them flowering for you and really doing well throughout the season. We were talking about your hanging baskets and of course, maintenance. And again, thoroughly watering is always going to be a really good thing. Watering in the morning is pretty key there. Making sure that you're watering thoroughly. The water is coming out of the drainage holes in the bottom. If your water is not coming out of your drainage holes, you might want to check underneath because there's a little piece in the bottom of the hanging basket that might be stuck or, is sealing the water in. You don't want your plants to swim in water. So make sure that's draining out. You do that twice. So thoroughly moistening all the soil in that hanging basket, letting it drain out, and then doing it one more time, making sure that you're thoroughly moistening, letting it drain. I mentioned Hydro Retain. If you have a problem with keeping those baskets moist, that's okay. Many of us do, but the newer soils in the basket mix has a lot of pine fines in it, and it helps hold on to moisture a little bit longer too. So that's another helpful thing. As far as feeding, use Osmocote in your hanging baskets. It's a slow release fertilizer. The green cap is what we call a balanced fertilizer, and it will feed for a long time. But in container gardens, remember, you're watering so much that you probably have to apply your fertilizer a little bit more often. So Osmocote usually once every 2 to 3 months, typically during the growing season. Keep that in mind when you're growing smaller pots and containers and hanging baskets, okay? This is a great slow release food. One last thing that you want to remember about hanging baskets is haircuts. Now again, these guys are pretty new. The stems are growing up. They will eventually start trailing down, and that's the look we like. But sometimes when we get into midsummer, the heat of summer, sometimes we find that the branches are trailing down, really pulling at the center or the crown of the plant. So sometimes you get a little bit of bald spot inside, or the branches start to look leggy, and you can give them a haircut, okay? And honestly, when you're looking at most of these varieties now, there is new growth coming off at every node. So what I would do is take a clean pair of shears, pruners, scissors, go ahead and sanitize them, and go and just cut, a few inches all the way around this hanging basket. We do have some older videos of kind of maintaining some petunias and things, but it works really, really well to kind of push energy back into the plant, make it fill in the center again. And believe me, within a week, that plant will start to bloom and push out all that new growth, and you won't even miss what you took off. Okay, so spotlight for hanging baskets. Make sure you know where you're putting your hanging basket: in sun, 6 or more hours, or shade, so usually 4 hours or less. Many of them will go in that part shade condition. That 4 to 6 hours of sunlight is fine. Make sure you're watering, thoroughly watering, letting it drip out the bottom, and then doing that one more time, okay? Making sure you're watering really well. Maintain your fertilizer. Most of these flowers in the hanging baskets, these annual flowers, are fairly vigorous growing. So they do like their water and they do like their fertilizer. So keep up with the fertilizer maintenance as well. Osmocote's a great product for that. And then don't be afraid to give them a haircut when you really want them to kind of bounce back and flush back out for you. No problem. Again, because of their vigor and the way that these annuals grow, they really fill out and do a nice job very, very quickly for you. Enjoy your hanging baskets.